my goodness gracious. Today is such a beautiful, beautiful day. I have the honor and privilege of doing an inner view, INNER view with Martha Duvall. Did I say it right?
You did. Good job.
Yay! And so Martha was introduced to our Worthy Collective by none other than Lori Love Jones down in Nashville, Tennessee. Lori and Martha knew each other from Lori's massage, and Martha ended up moving a little bit more north of Nashville, Tennessee, staying connected through our Worthy Collective. And we have gotten to absolutely fall in love with Martha. Her willingness to learn technology to join us. She joined us typically with headphones on, so we all thought she was like an IT person, but she said she wanted the headphones so she could hear us and nobody could hear what was happening in her household. And so we all giggled because that in which we thought she was a tech person. She's like, no, I was a teacher. So with not only falling in love with Martha, I had the honor and privilege of doing a one-on-one as a gift to her for being a consistent Worthy Collective member. And I got to learn so much more about Martha. And one of those very special things that I was able to learn was a dream that she had on her heart. And I say had because it was something that was given to her quite some time ago. She's going to talk more about it, yet what we absolutely love about Martha is her willingness to show up right where she is, right in the way that she is. Sometimes text works and sometimes it doesn't, and she doesn't get frustrated. She's adopted the statement that all of us say, I love technology, I love technology, even though sometimes we don't. Yet it connects us in ways that we could never imagine. And I'm excited to share this beautiful soul with you today because she has such gifts and talents and abilities, and that she is sharing being retired with purpose and her Peacemakers Movement. And yet we're going to go back to learning more about you, like what you did when. So we would love to hear more about you behind the scenes and how you came to be where you are.
Well, you're one reason I came to be where I am, and the whole Worthy Collective has been amazing. And yes, I am not technology wise. In fact, it took me several times to even learn how to get on quickly, but you worked with me until I could do it. So yes, I will show up, hopefully. But anyway, I taught for 40 years. I taught special ed most of those times and absolutely loved my job. And I also loved the extras that came with it, like working in clubs and coming up with projects, different things like that. So when I did retire, I was lost. I didn't have any purpose anymore. The first year and maybe the second year were fine. I was busy. It was new to me. I loved not having the alarm clock to go off and to see the school bus go by and me not trying to hurry behind it. But eventually I became like, what am I going to do with myself for all these years? We redid some things in the house, and I was tired of going through closets and going through drawers. And I'm like, what difference is that going to make in the world? So I finally came up with a burden on my heart was realized when I discussed with you that I had done something like 10 years, 10 or 11 years before that time. And it was something I did within my school and at different places. I called it the Peacemaker Movement. Now, that's what I'm still going to call it as we work on it. But the main reason I wanted to do it and how it has helped me so much is by giving me a purpose again. Especially in these times, we need peace as much as anything, as more than anything in the world. So it just seemed very timely, and I'm so excited to follow through with it. But I guess one thing I learned through all my life is finally I learned to honor myself. And if people would just start doing that when they're middle school or even younger, then we would not have the problems that we have as women sometimes, giving too much of ourselves mentally, physically, not thinking of ourselves and taking care of ourselves. I guess that would be the main thing I would wish for everybody to learn very quickly. So the rest of your life, you will do it and feel comfortable in doing it, and you can stand up for yourself. I did not do that for a long time and feel like I'm just now starting to do it on a regular basis. I'm 76, so I think it's about time, don't you? But it's a good journey. It's all about the journey. But right now, it's all about what's going to come up in the future for me, and I'm very, very, very excited about that. And I feel like I am filling that gap that came from retiring and then having nothing to make myself feel like I'm helping somebody else. That's what we did as teachers. We helped other people. Every job you have, I think most women feel like they want to help whoever's around them. And then to not be able to do that anymore or not feel like I was doing it. I found little ways to do it. Like when I would go out, I'd try to think of something good to say to people around me or, just little things like that. But that wasn't enough. I wanted to have a very purposeful project to do. So that's what we're working on. That's kind of where I am now. Happy and excited.
I love it. And I think what is the greatest treasure is the fact that you're willing.
Oh, I'm definitely willing. I'm willing and excited. And I hadn't felt that in a long time about something like this. So I love it.
I'm so grateful because there's so many things that I have learned from you and we have learned from you in our collective because you're willing to show up. And sometimes I know that you'll speak up, and then there's times where you haven't, which is the truth of our lives. You know what I mean? Yet honoring yourself, as I'm hearing you say that, thinking back to my middle school days, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think middle school might be one of the hardest positions and spots in life
Hmm.
because in elementary, there's just such a, I don't want to say coddling, but like you're really, really making sure that you're leading and learning from those you love. And then middle school, you're like, okay, how do I maneuver this space, this place? And well, your body is changing, male or female, like it's all
Right.
changing. And that change within friends and yeah, all those things. And honoring yourself through all of it. Oh my gosh. And so when you're working with a woman who is in retirement, knowing that she's leading someone else, her daughter, her daughter's daughter, and that ripple effect is so beautiful because if we didn't learn it, how important it is to recognize it. And I'm so thankful that you're sharing this space because I love to teach myself, yet I also honor we teach a different place when we've walked the walk and you've walked that walk
Right. Yeah,
and you're in it.
I did.
And
I'm
you're
in it.
and you're not retirement day one or day two. You're day 365 times 11, right?
Right. That's a lot of days.
That's a couple of days. Yeah. So I love it. So I have a few questions that I thought I would ask, and we can get
Okay.
down and dirty to the
All right.
specifics. So what
Maggie.
Oh, so what is the most important lesson you've learned on your journey to success, maybe both in life and education, that you wish more women knew
Well,
outside of
honestly,
yourself?
okay. Well, that's my number one.
Okay.
Um, I think you have to start being very intentional. I never started learning any of this at all until I was 40. And now that's 36 years ago. So, I've had a lot of time to practice some of it, but I never got so involved until I joined your collective because, we meet every Sunday and your mind just picks up so much. You learn so much from everybody when they do their talks and you have to be reminded of all the things that help you keep growing and keep growing and keep learning and expanding your life. And if you don't do that, you can't help anybody else. You have to show that before anybody's going to pay attention to you. I know I've got two girls, and I love sharing this stuff with them. But they're already grown now too. I would have loved to have known all this when they were growing up. I did my best, like we all do, but these are specifics that if you start using them all the time and you're intentional with everything you do, I don't mean you have to sit around and think about everything you do or say, but just being intentional in your mind and in your heart, if you follow your heart, then what you do is going to work out better for you. When, we all mess up, and then we have to think about those messes when we get older. Sometimes they don't even hit you till you get older and like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that I did that. Especially when it's someone like your parents or you didn't mean to do the things you did, but you did them. So that comes back to you. So if you're intentional from earlier, you don't have that to have to go through. It just makes your whole life so much easier. So that's why I think the teaching of peaceful principles are so important.
I do too. And I love that intention. And I too feel like one of the greatest treasures that I was given at 19 was the Mary Kay environment and looking around and not focusing on the age difference
Hmm.
in a negative way. Nothing but positive and joy of learning from women who were at that point in my life, like essentially my mom's age. You know what I mean? Like they had full careers. Some of them had kids that were grown. Some of them were working. There was a variation, yet there was a big age difference. Yet
Yeah.
exposure for what they wish they had. And when they would say it, I'd be like, like, wait a second. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to wish I had because
Right.
the heaviness of regret, that's a
Right. Oh,
doozy.
it's huge.
That is definitely a doozy. So you're honoring yourself in the intention. I agree. Oh, yeah. And how silly it is of us to realize so many times and how many days we go without intention.
Oh, I know. It's almost you have to be intentional about being intentional.
You do. And if I dare say, what is so significant is that when you're in a collective like ours, when you're around others, you're like, oh, there's not as big of a gap of like, oh, I didn't do that for a month. Mm-mm.
Right.
Nope, nope, nope. It's every Sunday.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
That really helps.
prickly. I forgot that part of the routine or the habits, or like we were just talking about some of those extra things that we're all learning about from Sarah in the homeopathy, in these
Oh, it's
worlds that
amazing.
none of us knew, didn't even hear about until recently, and we're like, what?
I know. Another wish to
Yes,
know
yes.
earlier.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
it's fascinating.
Yeah,
And her teas,
oh yes, exactly.
you
And
know.
things like that we just didn't know that we didn't know, and now we're in a space and a place that's it's we choose in, and you don't get to
Hmm.
make it every Sunday because sometimes your family events or church or travel, yet we also make sure that we have the replay, which is nice. Being live and locking in for that time
Right.
feels so much better for the start of the week, and it
Yeah,
makes a
it
difference.
does.
So
But I'm thankful for the replays because there have been times when family's been over that I didn't want to stop, and every hour is so precious with them, and they usually have to go around the time that we start. So, I just have missed a few. So I've had the replay, and that's been a blessing. I
yep.
really, really like that. And they're fun to go back to too. You
Mhm.
catch something new every time.
And that will be the same for your peacemakers, and the fact that it'll be a choice that women get to choose to put it in their fancy computer, save it as a reminder, like your hair appointment, like we love our hair appointments and we do something. And that will be the same 30 minutes every single week that they can save to gather, to grow, and be inspired. And sometimes
Hmm.
they're the ones that will be doing the inspiration, and sometimes they'll show up to be inspired because it
Right.
changes, it shifts, and that's
Hmm.
I love it. So, next question: how do you maintain focus and clarity on your vision, especially when you're faced with challenges or that lovely D word of doubt?
Well, one thing I want to do every day is I have my probably close to 2 hours of I read Jesus Calling every day. I listen to Calm every day with Jay Shetty, and he does a meditation. Yeah, I like to follow someone else's meditation. I do better than just, but I do try to do some of the breathing on my own. When something comes up that I'm having trouble handling, I will do the breathe in, breathe out thing for try to do it a few minutes. Um, I've started listening to some of the YouTube prayers that are on YouTube. I never even knew they were on there. And they have helped me immensely, especially when I was sick a while back. And you sent me that one on positive thinking. I never failed to listen to it twice a day because I needed that positive thinking through the day. So that was so helpful. And I thank you again. But I looked on there and there are so many different ones. And I've not listened to one that I didn't just love, something about timing. But anyway, I'm getting off subject there. But I try to do that every day. I try to list my three things I'm grateful for every day, and I write in the journal every day. And I love to pray. I have for years and years and years. I'm a pray without ceasing person because I love nature so much. If I go outside, like today, the trees have been so amazing with the sun shining on them. I've tried to take pictures and it just doesn't show the glistening and the beauty of it all. It's just so pretty. And I naturally will say, thank you, Lord, for this beauty. It just kind of comes out. I try to be so grateful. It's easy for me to be grateful about nature and the beauty of the world. Now, sometimes when I need to pray about something that's not the beauty of the world, I like to do that too. It helps me not get so downhearted about some of the things that are going on because I take in too much. I'm empathetic over my daughter and I laugh about this. We love basketball, and somebody will be on the other team will be making the extra point to beat us, and our heart won't let us go against him because we don't want him to feel bad. I mean, what kind of fan is that? That is just, I don't think that's natural, but that gratitude and loving comes pretty good for us. And I guess that's about all.
So
Oh, I
you mean
like to
you're
listen to
human?
the meditation music. What?
I said, so you mean you're human?
Yeah, that is going a little overboard, though. I don't tell everybody that. They'll say, "What? You're supposed to be a UK fan." Oh, and birds. I just when it's pretty weather, we have a lot of birds and bird feeders, and that brings me great joy. So, but anyway, that's all my routines. Basically, I try to do them in the morning and as things happen during the day, but I have to have those 2 hours to do my stuff.
You have to or you get to?
I get to. I make sure I get to.
Yes, exactly. And that's the shift. That is the shift in life, whether we're retired, working moms, we're working women, we're working people in general, teaching, educating, leading, serving, giving. It's that opportunity that we get to choose into versus that have to, which is heavy. So, yes, that's that shift. Poor Martha.
Yeah,
She
it's
shakes
a
her head.
challenge.
She shakes her head now because I'll come off mute and are worthy, and she's like, "Oh, here comes Maggie. I am the word police. I am the word police."
Yeah,
It's
I
such an
know, but I
awareness.
need it. I like it.
We do, and it's an opportunity because if it hits here, it's been here for more than a minute,
Right, right.
and so we
I'll
need.
be honest about something. When I was in high school, I think that's when I started this. My best friend and I, we did a lot of stuff together and thoughts were alike. And she started this kind of putting herself down to make other people feel bigger. And
Mm,
I got into that too. I mean, it's just what we wound up doing
hmm
because we cared about other people, but we didn't realize it was hurting us by doing that.
mm,
And I carried that. It took me years, it took me decades to remember that and figure that out and help me to remember why I got started doing that in the first place. Because I don't think I did that when I was a lot younger. This was high school, eighth grade,
mm.
on through high school. So that's a long time ago, but I do think that's where it started, and it didn't do me any good. I think it's Marianne Williamson said that when we act small, that really doesn't help anybody else. We've got to act not small, large, I guess
Mhm.
she would say.
Oh,
But
I
when I
and
heard that, I thought, oh gosh, yes.
that's a beautiful awareness in the authenticity of where you see where that came from. And darn it again, there's that middle school time that we're so
Hmm.
influenceable. And leadership
Yes.
is influence. And we have to be aware of the ship in which we connect to. Because you hooked
Hmm.
your wagon to hers and not realizing what she was carrying in her wagon really isn't going to bring her to a greater place.
Right. It seemed great to
Right.
me. I thought, that's so sweet. I'm gonna start doing that.
Right. And then it's like a cup that is pouring out yuck, like
Right.
not something you want to drink from
Mm-mm.
because it's not sustainable.
Yeah. Don't drink the water.
No, no. So who we hook our wagons to really does matter. And I believe that there's so many sayings that, have gone around, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Hmm.
And that's the beauty in which what we do have access to. Like I'll send messages to Zoom people, chat, support system, or even Fathom who's taking notes in the background. Like, thank you for your creation in this world. I'm so thankful. Would I
Oh, that's
rather
good.
sit next to you and hug on you? Yes. And yet, that's not as accommodating because we're not so physically close geographically yet until we have our next event. Um,
Yeah.
yet,
I'm
there's
excited.
the beauty is in taking that time. And what I love, I'm going to pause here for a second. It's not in my notes. Um, what I love, Martha, is that not only your willingness, something else that came to me is your feedback. The ability that you've given us in feedback for the Worthy Collective, like, and it's something I'm just realizing because I was gonna say, we were talking about how before we hit record, Martha had a gray shirt on and she said, I knew I needed something brighter. And I was like, oh my gosh, this color teal is so beautiful. It's like you're glowing. Like that is your color. And so I was laughing
Baby
because
blue.
then in Zoom, you could be with your pajama bottoms, and it doesn't really matter, like
Yeah.
focus of ours. And she has had the idea, and I promise that in February, we're going to put this in the collective. We're going to have like a PJ night, bingo night within the collective because
Oh, fun.
Martha had the feedback and idea that a lot of times we have messages and classes and all about worthiness, and yet we don't get to hear about how Stacy has 5 girls and Tamara has
Yeah.
3 kids, and one lives in London for her education, and a little more depth in the women behind we
Yes,
don't
I
always
would love that.
get to that because we
Yeah.
have a
We got
message
time.
and we're focused on that message. And so we are
Hmm.
putting that in place and we've got to put a title to it because it's because of you. It's because you felt something in your heart to say, gosh, I really would like to know this and how can this come about? I really, and we're going to put that in place because
Oh,
of you.
good.
And
Well,
that's
thanks for
where
telling me that.
we are greater together. We're greater together
Yeah,
because
that is always true.
we're all creative. We have an imagination and it's different based on your experience in the education world and being around children that you are like, "Oh, wait, I did this and I can move it over here and do the same." So, I'm so thankful. So I just made myself a note. We're going to put it on the calendar for February and it will be because of Martha Duvall. Yes.
Duval.
Duval. Did I not say it?
He said Duval.
Duval.
Most people too, 9 out of 10 people say Duval. It's just the way everybody says it, but his little family is Duval.
Duval.
Focus
Okay.
on the do.
Ah, well, perfect. I love
I
that. Focus
know.
on the do.
It was meant
That's
to be.
that's my game right there. Do. Okay. Next question. What daily habits or practices have been key in your personal growth and achievement? I feel like you kind of talked about this already with your routine. Is there,
Yeah, me too.
yep. Okay. So your routine and really, and you guys, this is what something I want to share. It's so special
Are
is,
we still on?
yep. Mhm.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yep. So what's so special about this is that when Martha and I were putting this together behind the scenes, and she was a part of my Confidence Kickstart, and it's a very specific classes to support her where she is, not where I am, not where the Worthy Collective is, not Peacemakers. It's a matter where she was or is at that moment and moving forward. And what was so special, and I was so proud, and I want to say this because I believe there's a woman, man, anyone on YouTube is following us that needs to hear this. She had a boundary on her time because when we were setting our appointments together, she said, I need this time in the morning for me. Now, even though the session is about her, she needed that foundation before we would meet. And I want to bring that up because when we're talking about habits, practices, routine, rituals, that is for us to decide. And it's going to edit and change based on the season of life we're in. Yet, no one is going to tell you when or how. And what frustrates me more than anything as a woman, and especially owning a business for more than half my life now, the excuses around that and not staying true
Yeah.
to it. What does it look like? It's actually the night before. How are you going to set yourself up? Well, you might want to get rid of this a little sooner than later. Drinking some extra water. Some of the teas that we have, Sarah in our collective, who has opened us up to this organic herb place that none of us never knew what was available rather than, some warm water with a tea bag. I mean, way, way expanded our horizon and how we choose to end the night to be able to support ourselves in the waking. And yet, pre-planning what it's going to look like. It doesn't mean it has to be if we want it to be, it can be. Yet I loved that space in which you said, I would really like if it's possible to do this at this time instead because I have this routine of mine. And I was like,
Oh,
it's so
thank
needed.
you.
It's so needed,
Yeah.
regardless of being retired, working, in school, out of school, kids, no kids, dating, not dating, married, not married. It is that personal self-care, unlike getting your nails, your hair, lashes, eyebrows, makeup, whatever. No, 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 no. It's that self-care daily. And it's habit stacking. I'm sure you didn't do everything all at once. It was a matter of like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'll do this. And then you added, and now you're like, ooh, that's unacceptable not to have it, in that space, I believe is really beautiful. And I'm sharing that because I know someone needed to hear that. I know it. That reminder, like you said, that I think you called it the repetition. I think that's the word you used, of things that we need to hear over again, like on Sundays. You've heard
Right.
these things, like hearing it, like,
The
oh,
reminders.
yeah,
Yeah,
those reminders.
exactly.
So
Hmm.
good. So, if you could give one piece of advice to women stepping into their power, striving for their best selves, what would it be?
Well, just to trust. I trust in God to lead me, and my instinct when Lori asked me if I wanted to join, it kept nagging at me. Yes, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. It took me a little while because, well, it took me what, 4 times to say hello, I think. I was very slow getting started, but it gets easier. I'm not used to, speaking in front of people anymore, especially adults. But just believe in yourself. Trust what you're feeling inside, the honor yourself again. I think I would put that number one each time because I think if we did that, we wouldn't let things hurt us, that we wouldn't accept things that are less than what we believe in. We just wouldn't do it if we are honoring ourselves. That will always be number one because it took me a while to learn that. I guess that's why I'm so emphatic about it. Just believe that you are where you're meant to be and things are as they're meant to be at this point, and you choose to do better as you go along. And I think that affects the whole world. You take care of you, your family. If everybody did that, then, we wouldn't have hardly any of these problems that we're going through because we would honor ourselves and other people and respect them.
Yeah, whole lot more respect, and I believe that definitely is an awareness. Say it often, ABC, awareness before change, and that awareness that in which is in us is in someone else,
Right.
so it's so beautiful. So, how would you balance ambition and rest, ensuring that you stay aligned with your values and avoid burnout? Because now you're putting together something that you don't have to, you get to, and developing this outline and something new. So, how are you balancing this?
I'm a big believer in not multitasking. And I used to not even want to say that because everybody I knew, would brag about being a multitasker and I would just have to sit there. But I think you do better and you get more out of it if you do one thing at a time. So in this process, that's what I'm trying to do and that's what you've helped me do through your classes is one thing at a time. or else I would have been overwhelmed. So I've tried to do that in my own life. Just you take one step at a time and then you look behind you and there's like, wow, look at all that I've done. But if I try to multitask, I'm not doing anything very well. So that's very important to me. And when your body says you need rest, go lay down or lay down in a on the couch or whatever you need to do that makes you feel like you are being good to yourself in taking that rest. I think women especially get embarrassed when they need to lay down or if they need to stop doing what they're doing because they're tired. But your body needs that rest, and it wouldn't be saying that to you if it weren't true. So I think just listen and trust and keep on going.
I love that. And I believe that that side of rest is the truest part of resetting ourselves. And that reset is more important than anything. Um, and I sit here at over 50 thinking, wow, how come I didn't learn that in my 20s? I mean, full-fledged, oh man, I wrecked my thyroid, I'm sure, in my 20s because I literally had no off button. I didn't have a pause, it was full-fledged and I was young and had the energy, and yet, the ripple effect of what happens and we don't realize,
Right. Down
that.
the road.
And then it's that laugh where you're like, if I would have known what I knew now, then how much better, different. And yet we recognize and we allow that shift and that opportunity.
Right.
Then your message here of your peace movers movement,
Peacemakers movement.
yeah, is such a gift because to the women who are retired with purpose or finding their purpose, that they're leaning into their daughters, and depending on their age range and how close they have kiddos, and or they're someone's aunt and what that can affect, and these
Right.
reminders and having the conversation. And it can be so beautiful because we can learn these things either for the first time or on repeat and like, ah,
And then they're friends and they're friends. It's like a gossip thing, except it's something good. You tell one person, it just goes down the line. If it's something good, how wonderful is that?
oh, it multiplies. It absolutely,
Yeah.
and it gives birth to so much light, so much love and
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. So, is there anything else on your heart that I might have missed today that you want to share?
Let's see. I would like to mention the Buddhists, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, my daughter and grandson and I went to see them when they were in Georgia, and we didn't get that intimate time with them, but we were there and got to see them walk in and the dog Aloka, and the crowd was all about peace. Nobody was fussing. Everybody was being patient and talking to people they didn't know. When these people beside us who were from Georgia found out we were from Kentucky, they were like, get up front here. You get up front so you can see them. You came all this way. It's just an amazing thing. And it was just all about love and peace. And there were thousands. Well, at that time it was kind of new, but there was probably at least 1,000 people there. And now they said today I was listening to it, and they said there was a crowd of 100,000 somewhere they went. And when they were in South Carolina, no, that's not right. Um, Alabama, I think. They were on a bridge and they got an overhead. I guess it was what do you call it? Going round and around taking
Android or
pictures.
droid?
A drone, yeah, a
Drone,
drone
drone, drone.
with it.
Sorry.
And I mean that everybody, it was just crowded on that big bridge. You couldn't have put a feather between them, and it was just so encouraging. And I wanted to go because I'd already made this decision to do the Peacemaker. And it was just like a gift, to get to see them who represent peace. And they want you to say every day, write down when you wake up, this is going to be my peaceful day. And I'd like to finish with that because I think if we all did that and then tried to do the best we could to go through to get through it in a peaceful way, do everything we've learned to do, then, everything's going to be better. It's just really pretty simple. It's not that easy to follow through sometimes, but it is a very simple but true concept. So this is going to be my peaceful day.
It's so
And
beautiful.
let it be.
And let it be. And it's an expectation.
Yeah,
And the
definitely. I hadn't
shift,
thought of that.
yep, it's a shift in what will be and honoring the possibilities versus the of
Right.
the other, just let it,
Yeah, the other.
the other. Yes.
There's always a box to check other, so we're going to get rid of that box.
Exactly. And check the box of peace.
Right.
Peace
I
and
love it.
understanding and honoring ourselves. What a treasure.
Right.
Well, Martha, I can't thank you enough for.
Well, thank you too. This has been so meaningful. I didn't expect to tear up on YouTube. Oh, I'm glad we can we take this part out.
I might have to talk to Tamara to get some editing. The two.
Well, it has been wonderful. I don't express myself very often. This has been a like a cathartic thing for me, so thank you.
Well, I am so grateful that you said yes. I'm so grateful that you kept coming back. I'm grateful for your choice and consistency for yourself, but not by yourself. And your willingness just to share with me your dream because I get to be a part of it.
Big part of it. Yes, definitely.
So grateful. So grateful.
Thank you, Maggie.
I love you.
Love you.